Hi everyone. We have the 12th class for permutation and combination. So the previous 11 videos, we are only trying to exhaust or to give the foundation of this topic. And those 11 videos, we are all about factorials. As you can see, even today we are coming to start permutation. You will see factorial everywhere. So we needed the concept of factorial. So this is permutation. First of all, when we talk about permutation, it's a mathematical term that is all about arrangement. For example, you have A, B, C, D. You want to arrange them, yes, in a particular order. That is why in arrangement, in permutation, the order is important. The order matters. So in the other hand, we have combination. Combination is about selection, and permutation is about arrangement. And once you arrange, you do the permutation, the order matters. So we arrange elements, we arrange objects, we arrange things, we arrange people. So arrangement is very, very important. But after we've exhausted everything, then we shall go to the practical problems of everything about permutation combination. Um, Permutation, of course, it is denoted like this. Oh, I'm sorry. Permutation is read as permutation what R? N permutation R. Okay. So this N permutation R that signifies permutation, unlike the combination, which is N combination R. Yes. So N permutation R, the formula says N factorial. You can see N factorial divided by N minus R factorial. But you need to understand that this R we are talking about ranges from 0 to N. It could be equal to 0 or greater. It could be equal to 0 or greater than 0. It could be less than 0 or less than N or equal to N. All right, so this is the formula for permutation. Now we have two problems here. We want to show that N permutation 1 is just N. It is so interesting that N permutation 1 is just N, meaning if you see 10 permutation 1, it's supposed to be 10. According to this notation here, N permutation 1 is just N. N permutation N is just N factorial. So suppose you have a case like 4 permutation 4. You don't need to go through the formula. The fact that it is 4 permutation 4, just say 4 factorial. Then you know what we did in factorials. That is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Yeah. How about N permutation 0? N permutation 0 is 1. So meaning even if you have 28 permutation what 0, the result is 1. 28 permutation 0 is 1. 30 permutation 0 is 1. Whatsoever positive value, permutation 0 is always 1. For every number permutation of the same number, it is equal to that number factorial. So any number permutation 1 is equal to just the number. Now let us prove them. Okay. This formula is true provided R is greater than or equal to 0 or less than or equal to N. Okay, so let's start with the A part. The first one says show that N permutation 1 is equal to N. Okay, but let us consider the left hand side. The left hand side. The left hand side says what? It says N permutation 1. But generally, N permutation R is equal to N factorial over n minus r factorial. Generally, n permutation r is equal to this. So if today we want to prove that n permutation 1 is just n, so we consider the left hand side, but don't forget that our final answer is supposed to be n, because this is what we want to prove. This is true, just that we want to prove it, we want to show it. So now we say, according to the formula, this factorial. So n factorial. So n minus r, look at it down here, n minus r. So here again, n minus 1, n minus 1 factorial. Why we added factorial? Because there is a factorial. Why we said this minus this? Because that is what the formula says, n minus r. You can see it. Why this one, we wrote it here with a factorial? That is exactly what the formula does. Okay. So, but we haven't seen this n that we want to show. Now, from factorials we discussed in lessons 1 to 11, this n will produce this one. This cannot produce this, so we expand this. We don't expand this. So how do we expand n factorial? We say n multiplied by n minus 1. We stop here because we've seen n minus 1. Do not forget what I used to say in the previous 11 lessons, that once you stop without getting to 1, you add factorial over n minus 1 factorial. So n factorial takes away n factorial. What is left is n. So this one shows that any number permutation 1 is just that number. This is what we've shown. Now let us go to the second one. I hope it is clear. You want to copy, pause the video, then you will copy. The second one says, any number permutation of the same number, the result is that number factorial. What do we do? Let us consider the left-hand side. The left-hand side. What does the left-hand side say? It says n permutation n. But according to the formula for permutation, this one here starts with a factorial. So this one here starts with a factorial. According to the formula, this minus this occupy what? The denominator, sorry. This minus this gives this one. So this minus this. So n minus n factorial. There is a factorial, so don't forget it. So here we see n factorial over n minus n is 0 factorial. So at the top, n factorial. What is 0 factorial? I also proved this one in one of the previous videos. If this is your first lesson, the first you do is what? Is to hit the follow button, then you go and search for the previous videos to catch up to where we are today. So what is 0 factorial? It is 1. You know that any value divided by 1 is just the value. So n factorial divided by 1 is n factorial. So this proves that n permutation n is equal to n factorial. And not just this one. Note it that if you have 20 permutation, what? 20, the result is 20 factorial. You see? n factorial. 20, 20, 20 factorial. I hope it is clear. Okay, so now let's go to the third one. The third one says any number permutation 0 is equal to 1. Let us consider the left-hand side. Once you consider the left-hand side, your result is supposed to give you this. So now n permutation 0. Here is a formula for permutation, that this takes the numerator with a factorial. So this n is here with a factorial. How about the denominator? This minus this factorial. This minus this factorial. So n minus 0 factorial. I hope it is clear. So at the top is n factorial. N minus 0 is n. You know, any number minus 0 is the number itself. Here is a factorial. Division of the same values will always give us 1. So this is 1. So it proves, it shows that any number, any positive number, not just any number, any positive number, permutation 0 is 1. You can see it here. Okay, we are done with the A part. Now we go to B. So what is about B? We want to find the value of 1, 8, permutation 2. Look at the formula here. The one at the top takes the numerator. So here is 8 factorial. There is a factorial. At the denominator, this minus this factorial. 8 minus 2 factorial. So this is 8 factorial over 8 minus 2, 6 factorial. Is it over? Not yet over. So what do? We expand the bigger until we get the smaller. So 8 factorial is 8 times 7 times 6 factorial. Remember, we did all this one in the previous 11 videos. Over 6 factorial. So this goes with this. 8 times 7, 56. So if you take your calculator and find 8 permutation, 2 will give you this. But mind you, let's say you are dealing with a multiple choice questions. You don't need to go through all this. You have your calculator that can do it for you in just like 3-4 seconds. 8 permutation 2, it will give you this one straight away. Except if the teacher asks you to show the steps to show working. Now, the second one is 20 permutation 3. What is 20 permutation 3? Here is a formula. This takes the numerator. So 20 takes the numerator. This minus this, you can see it here. So this minus this, 20 minus 3 factorial. I hope you are following. So we say 20 factorial over 20 minus 3 is 17 factorial. Okay. So we expand the bigger in order to get to the smaller. So what is 20 factorial? 20 times 19 times 18 times 17. We have gotten to this factorial. So over 17 factorial. So this takes away this, leaving 20 times 19 times 18. 20 times 19 times 18. So let's see what we have. 20 times 19 times 18. So that we don't waste time. So 20 times 19 times 18, 6840. So we get 6840. So this is what we have. So suppose you would like to try any one and see. You can try, let me say 15 permutation 4 or 16 permutation, let's say 3. So thank you for watching. Do not forget to follow, like, share, and comment, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. See you in my next video.